Hello class, my name is Joel Brink, and my presentation will be on Johnson & Johnson. I chose Johnson & Johnson because it is struggling to repair its reputation of ethical business practices and corporate social responsibility. We'll get back to the issues facing the company shortly. Next, I'll give you a brief description of the company. Johnson & Johnson began in 1886 as a small medical products company in New Brunswick, New Jersey, manufacturing sterile surgical supplies. Since then, the corporation has grown to more than 250 operating companies in 60 countries, producing medicines and medical devices, as well as consumer products like Band-Aid brand bandages, Tylenol medication, Johnson's baby products, Neutrogena's skin and beauty products, Clean and Clear facial wash, and AccuView contact lenses. The family of companies comprises the world's sixth largest consumer health company, the world's largest and most diverse medical devices and diagnostics company, the world's fifth largest biologics company, and the world's eighth largest pharmaceuticals company. Even people who don't know much about Johnson & Johnson do know about its credo, the formal statement of its corporate vision. It's a document that Robert Wood Johnson wrote in 1943 before the company went public, and that begins, "We believe our first responsibility is to the doctors, nurses, and patients, to mothers and fathers and all others who use our products and services." The challenges Johnson & Johnson are facing are due to losing track of that very credo. Customer confidence in, once one of the nation's most trusted brands, has dipped in recent years, as the company recalled dozens of products, including children's Tylenol and other medications, as well as artificial hips and other products. Much of the blame for Johnson & Johnson's stumbles fell on William Weldon, who became chief executive in 2002 after spending his entire career at the company. Critics said the company's once vaunted attention to quality slipped under his watch. The company pled guilty in April 2011 to bribing European doctors and agreed to pay $70 million in fines, led by a wide-ranging government investigation of corrupt overseas marketing practices by drug and device makers. In January, Texas settled a similar case with the company's subsidiary, Janssen Pharmaceuticals, for $158 million. In 2011, a South Carolina judge levied civil penalties of $327 million against Janssen, and in 2010, a Louisiana jury awarded nearly $258 million in damages. The Arkansas Circuit Court issued a penalty of $1.19 billion for nearly 240,000 violations of the state's Medicaid fraud law, and also fined the companies $11 million for violations of the state's Deceptive Practices Act. In April, a judge in Arkansas ordered Johnson & Johnson and Janssen to pay more than $1.2 billion in fines a day after a jury found that the companies had minimized or concealed the dangers associated with Risperdal, an antipsychotic drug. They're also pending lawsuits in several other states. Johnson & Johnson said in company filings that it has reached an agreement in principle with the federal government to settle a misdemeanor criminal charge related to marketing of Risperdal, but news reports have said that the Justice Department has rejected a proposed $1 billion settlement and is seeking more money. In April 2012, Alex Gorsky took over as the company's new chief executive after William Weldon stepped down. The news of Weldon's retirement came as the company struggled to emerge from a succession of product recalls, manufacturing problems, and government inquiries that have tarnished its name. Weldon will remain as chairman. Gorsky has repeatedly stressed that Johnson & Johnson is sticking to the values in its corporate credo, which puts patients, doctors, nurses, and employees ahead of profits. Gorsky, the seventh CEO since the company went public in 1932, said he is resolute in his determination to keep the credo as the foundation for Johnson & Johnson. In August 2012, Johnson & Johnson announced new strategies it will implement. The company announced plans to remove a host of potentially harmful chemicals, like formaldehyde, from its line of consumer products by the end of 2015, becoming the first major consumer products company to make such a widespread commitment. Environmental and consumer groups have for years pressured Johnson & Johnson and its competitors to remove questionable ingredients from their product. The company also plans to phase out other ingredients that have been linked to health problems, including parabens, a type of preservative used in baby products. Executives announced the company is raising its quarterly dividend by 7% to 61 cents per share, marking the 50th straight annual dividend increase. When former CEO Weldon stepped down from his position to chairman, he received a huge reduction in salary. This should be encouraging to investors that they can rest safe in the knowledge the company money is not being foolishly wasted on excessive management salaries. Gorski's strategy appears to involve expansion by acquiring other companies on a very large scale. The company's cardiovascular sales have fallen steadily over the past 5 years, leading it to consider acquiring medical device companies dealing in such things as artificial heart valves in order to boost profits and revenue. Johnson & Johnson lost touch with its own credo. In industries where it's so important to provide products that can be trusted, Johnson & Johnson must find a way to regain the organizational culture that made their brand one of the most trusted in the world. Investors and consumers must pay close attention to how Johnson & Johnson responds to the challenges it's brought upon itself, to see if it is a company with high ethical standards or just portraying to be one. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your time.